Sunday, August 31st. Ask what you want to ask. I've refused to see Harry for the last 3 days, and I don't even feel guilty about it. Nope, not a bit. Basford thinks I just need to go out to the field and get Harry to explain. But I won't. It's Harry's fault for hitting me and then for ruining my life at St. Xavier's, because that's what's going to happen as soon as everyone sees the huge welt on my face, courtesy of my once best friend. Besides, even if I wanted to see Harry, which I don't, Mom's kept me working every second. I wasn't even allowed to have a Friday tutorial with Aunt Edith. Tomorrow, the Monday before Labor Day, is the farm's biggest tourist day, so we've all been sweeping and folding and packaging during every spare minute. Well, all of us except for Dad. He's been holed up in his lab working furiously on something top secret. He's going to finally tell us about it at dinner tonight. Polly, take this. Mom hands me an hors d'oeuvres tray of olives and cheese and roasted almonds just as Aunt Edith walks through the door. How lovely, she exclaims, taking an olive. Special occasion. Mom sets down a white ceramic basket filled with bread. Always, Edith. Gerard steps inside. Good evening, he says, then looks over at me. Good Lord, Polly, what did you do to your face? I take a deep breath. I tripped, I say as I hear Patricia snicker. Aunt Edith raises her eyebrows, but Gerard nods like it's an acceptable answer. He doesn't know anything about rhubarb, or farming for that matter. One time, he literally yelled at the dirt because a speck got on his fancy English shoes. Then he stepped in a puddle of mud, which hadn't been there 1 second earlier. It made me giggle because I knew the farm was getting back at him. We ate the olives and almonds and drank apple rhubarb juice. Freddie's not with us because he's been feeling sick and running a fever again. And Dad's not here yet either. Finally, when we're all just listening to Gerard drone on about something none of us cares about, Dad rushes up the stairs, beaming. He's holding a crate-sized box. Just had it copied, he pants. One for all of you. I'll explain after dinner. Dad says, breathing hard. Mom smiles nervously, but Dad's so clearly happy that it's not long before everyone's joking and laughing. Everyone, that is, except for Aunt Edith. All through our meal, she's distracted, constantly glancing at Dad's box. Finally, when Patricia, Basford, and I finish clearing the table, Dad picks up his mysterious box and takes off the lid. Pass them around, please, he asks, handing out what looks to be a bound notebook. On the cover is the name Dunbar Industries. What's Dunbar Industries? Patricia asks. It's the name of the pharmaceutical company I've been working with for the past 3 years, Dad says. He takes a deep breath and looks up at us, grinning. I found out this week that they've just granted me a bigger, better underwriting for funding. That's how promising the initial results of the rhubarb medicine study were. Honestly, he may explode. That's how excited he looks. Which study is this? Gerard asks. I'm developing a strain of medicines for the nervous system. Medicines that specifically attack certain genes. Marvelous, Aunt Edith says slowly. Just marvelous. But how is this different from what we've been discussing? Dad beams. It's a continuation of our discussion. He pauses as if he's saying the most obvious thing in the world. Edith, this will solve your problem. My problem? Aunt Edith says, echoing our thoughts. She says this softly, but Mom, Patricia, and I all notice the change in her voice. What you've been talking to us about. This solves it. Dad smiles again, but his teeth are clenched, and I notice that he's gripping his notebook so hard that I can see the plastic cover denting in the middle. Aunt Edith takes her notebook and opens it to one of the last pages, where there are numbers charted in graphs. She studies it for a long moment. The rest of us have become silent, watching her. Then she closes the notebook and looks up at my father. When will you get the money, George? The money? Dad blinks. Mom tries to light a candle on the table that went out. It takes her 3 tries to light one match. It feels as if all Dad's excitement has been sucked out of the room, leaving everyone tense. Edith, no, I don't want to discourage you. It's all good news and good work, but I thought I had made myself clear, Aunt Edith says quietly. I look toward Dad. His lips tremble as if the upper one can't follow orders from the lower one. What's the matter, Dad? I ask. My head feels wobbly. Something is definitely wrong. Dad turns and looks straight at me. When he speaks, he sounds grim. Your aunt needs money. Ha! I snort. I can't help it. Right. And I'm going to go to Mars. On my wings. I instantly feel better. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm sure Dad's joking. But he doesn't look like he's joking. He's glaring at Aunt Edith, his gaze sharp and pointed. My smile fades away. Aunt Edith's the richest of any of us. I look over at her, my mind filling with confusion. I mean, you're famous. Don't be slow-witted, Polly, Aunt Edith snaps, as if fame has anything to do with anything. It feels like Harry slapping me all over again. It's too late, Aunt Edith declares. She puts the notebook on the table. Darn it, Edith. We all jerk our heads toward Dad. He never curses. Never. What is going to be enough for you? Honey, not now, my mother begins. She wants to sell the farm. Do you all know that? My dad whirls around as he speaks. I must not be hearing correctly. Aunt Edith wants to sell the farm? My mom's hand catches on a platter on a side table, and it takes a clink. Worst idea I've ever heard, Mom mutters. Aunt Edith raises her head sharply. Frankly, Christina, this doesn't concern you. Mom? I try to stop this craziness. If I can just interrupt this argument, then things will go back to normal. Mom ignores me. You want to sell the farm and you think it doesn't concern me? Is that what you're saying? Yes, Aunt Edith says. She pushes her chair out from the table. We'll talk about this at another time, without the children. Wait, Aunt Edith! I try again, but it's a wimpy sound, and Mom's voice overpowers mine. My children can hear all of this, snaps Mom. No, Aunt Edith says. They may not, because I don't want them to. May I remind you that there are two people who own the farm, my brother and me, no one else. She's breathing hard. And let me tell you one thing, it is my decision. The farm will be sold. I hear the last word like a tumbling brick, like the concrete block I threw at the castle long ago when Grandmom died. Aunt Edith, I say confused, are you really? I mean, what are you? Aunt Edith looks at me straight in the eye. When she talks, she sounds kind, not mean. Remember, Emerson, truth is handsomer than the affection of love. She pauses, takes a deep breath. Ask me what you really want to ask me, dear. I won't get mad. Okay, then. Do you really want to sell the farm? Yes. She pauses. Actually, it's already done. The farm is sold for a very generous price. I'm just waiting for your father to sign the papers. I'm rocked. Truly, completely rocked. I'm a baseball that's been hit out of the park, out of the country, out of the universe. Edith, Dad speaks gravely, more serious than I've ever seen him. I told you, I'm not going to sign. She lets out a short, harsh laugh. Of course you are. Dad shakes his head and pushes his chair back from the table. No, I own half of this farm, the same as you, and I say no. Aunt Edith swallows and her face hardens. I'll ask you again tomorrow, George. She puts both of her hands on the table and stands. I'm not going to change my mind. Dad insists. We'll see about that. She gives Gerard a small nod. We're leaving. Do not, Mom starts, but Aunt Edith cuts her off. She gives Mom a small smile and then turns to us. Good night, everyone. But tears form and spill from my eyes. I can't stop them. Oh, Polly, clucks Aunt Edith. Please don't. She's staring at me with such sadness and such pity that I can't stand it. But the fact that Aunt Edith wants to sell the farm makes me not like Aunt Edith. And I cannot not like Aunt Edith. I just can't. Then in an instant, she walks out. Even after we hear the door shut, none of us move for a while. Aunt Edith is rich, I say. She has a Mercedes. She knows the president. Mom laughs crazily. A Mercedes and a president, yes, Mom says. I get mad that she's laughing. You must have done something, I tell Dad. Polly, Mom begins. What did you do to her? Polly, this time it's Dad. Just give her the money, I say. You don't know the first thing, Mom says. You're being cheap. Aunt Edith is the one person in this family who actually knows anything, who actually is anything, and Dad's making her want to sell the farm. That has to be it. I jump up from my chair. Sit down, Dad orders. But I run out of the house with everyone staring after me. I don't care. I'm mad, more mad than I've ever been, at my parents, at Aunt Edith, at Freddie, at Patricia, at Harry. It feels like all my anger is pooling into one hot, ugly stream. My cheeks burn, my heart pounds. I think my brain is blown up. Nothing makes sense. I run over to the rope bridge and through the castle, and I run and run as fast as I can over to the chocolate rhubarb farm, row 18, column 30. Harry, please talk to me. I stare down at him, panting. Tell me what's happening. Slowly, Harry moves all his leaves up into the same bouquet position. I wipe my eyes to get rid of the tears. I didn't even know were falling. Why do you keep doing that? The other plants start to make bouquets too, one by one, until the entire field is covered in chocolate rhubarb bouquets. Help me, I plead. Suddenly, Harry slowly releases his leaves, stretching them out flat like he's finally going to answer me. Tell me what I need to know. I take a deep breath, relieved. He stays there, outstretched for a long, long moment. Yes, Harry, I whisper. Then Harry's leaves snap up into the bouquet position, that same terrible, unacknowledgeable, frustrating position, and I snap too. I don't even know what that means. I don't think. I just reach over and start ripping, leaf by leaf, yanking out the stalks, throwing down Harry's stems, digging at his crown deep in the soil. The other plants thunder around me, raising and lowering their stalks, rustling their leaves, but I ignore them. I ignore my parents' disapproved faces, and most of all, I ignore Aunt Edith's voice saying, "The farm is sold, the farm is sold." I don't stop until Harry is shredded. I'm gasping, but calmer. The other plants are now still. They're watching me, probably certain that I'll turn on them next. My crooked finger throbs. Burning, terrible shame washes over me, and I'm sure I'm going to start sobbing, but I don't. I can't. I'm suddenly empty inside, as if by shredding Harry, I've destroyed myself too. I flop to the ground like an old rag doll, falling on top of the tattered remains of Harry. I just lie there, rubbing my finger and looking up at the dark, empty sky. Monday, September 1st. Trust the plants. I wake up late, looking up at the window in my turret. I have no idea how I got back to my bed. The farm looks just like it did yesterday, thriving and green, a swath of yellow where the tour buses park. There are people everywhere. Then I remember. Harry! I pull on clothes and rush out my door, sprinting down the stairway and the door through the fields until I reach him. As I run, I tell myself that it's all a mistake, that Harry will magically reappear, just like all the plants in the learning garden. But when I get there, Harry's leaves, what's left of them, are flattened, shredded, and small and big and in between green pieces. The stalks are torn in the middle, flung everywhere. I kneel down in the mound of black dirt. Some white roots are sticking out, green leaves and broken stalks scattered. I have no way to absorb the return of the river, the ocean of shame that floods through me. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Trust the plants, I hear my grandmom say. The plants will never steer you wrong, sweet thing. I look at the other plants, who are reaching out as they did a couple weeks ago, touching their neighboring plants, like they're getting ready for some kind of battle. Carefully, I pick up Harry's pieces, all the remnants of leaves and stalks and roots. I put them into my pocket. It looks like maybe, just maybe, there's still something there in the crown. Like deep in the soil, there's a part of Harry that may have escaped my craziness. It's very thin, very frail. I'm not usually that religious, but I make the sign of a cross, and then lean down and kiss that part of the plant. The other plants have flattened out, touching each other like giant fans. I step out around them, walking in tiny zigzag paths throughout the field. Their stalks flutter slightly, but they stay where they are, stretching to connect with their neighbors. It affects everyone. It affects the whole farm, I pause, realizing that's why you clogged up the umbrella. And then I understand. Harry was trying to signify that the entire farm was in danger, so he was using every bit of his plant body. That's what the bouquet meant. You all knew Aunt Edith had sold the farm. The plants shake their metal leaves in one unanimous yes. I look over to Harry's place. He was trying to tell me. I glance over to my cherry tree. The mist hangs heavily under the branches, dense and mysterious. I want to collapse. But before I can do anything, I hear someone calling my name. More like yelling my name. Polly! I turn, running down the entry road as Freddie and Patricia and Basford. Polly! They repeat. Freddie reaches me first, panting. He can't speak because he's coughing so much. He must still be sick. What is it? I ask. He wheezes. You don't know? I shake my head. What? I ask again. Patricia lunges through the plants. Look up, she gasps. I tilt my head back, looking up at the sky. It's blue. Brilliantly blue. A perfect, cloudless, bluer than blue sky. Freddie flashes his watch at me. It's 1:07 p.m. on a Monday. There's no rain.